Hello, everybody. Today we have a presentation called Materials Development. This presentation was done by Alma Sanchez Linares and Yaren Arenas. This presentation looks at the relationship of several relevant concepts like teacher effectiveness, curriculum, syllabus design, needs analysis, materials design, adoption, and adaptation. To start with, let's remember that teacher's effectiveness is defined as a set of characteristics that a teacher shows to provide the students with several elements that will facilitate the learning process of a language. Those characteristics can be creating a positive atmosphere, having an enthusiastic and positive attitude, establishing rapport, correcting grammatical errors indirectly, using innovative strategies, providing fair examinations, adapting to students' needs, the ability to evaluate a curriculum, materials, or even self evaluation, among other skills. Another key term previously seen was needs analysis, which, according to Songori, it refers to the activities that are involved in collecting information that will serve as the basis for developing a curriculum that will meet the needs of a particular group of students. Moreover, Jones claims that a needs analysis provides validity and relevance for all subsequent course design activities, whose elements are the goals and the objectives of the institution and the program itself, language testing, materials development, language teaching, and program evaluation. Finally, the concept of syllabus was also previously discussed, as Núñez and Telles state that designing a syllabus requires precise knowledge about the central role of learners, the social context factors, the learning and teaching processes, as it aims at communicating to students what the course intends to be, the reasons for teaching, and the destination, and the requirements to pass it. Now, after this review, we need to focus on materials development and point out some fundamental definitions and features regarding what materials are, how to adopt, adapt, and design them, and under what circumstances it is suitable to do it. The first issue is the definition of materials. According to Halim and Halim, the term materials is used to refer to anything which is used by teachers or learners to facilitate the learning of a language, to enhance the learner's knowledge and or experience the language. In fact, materials can be anything that accomplishes the previous function, such as pictures, videos, dictionaries, flyers, photocopy activities or texts, songs, cards, talks, books, websites, programs, etc. But the question here is, why do ELT educators need to use materials? Well, as we know, the current paradigm points out to a centered learner environment that primarily focuses on the student's features, demands, preferences, and motivation, as well as the institutional policies that teachers work with it every day. Thus, teachers need to make a decision about whether they adopt, adapt, or design materials. But what do they need to know before doing it? Let's talk about the first one, when adopting materials. So, according to Halim and Halim, textbooks are the most common ELT materials that are frequently adopted, as they can be imposed by the schools, which mostly don't allow them to make any change with them, or even this can be kind of practical for novice or unskilled teachers. Now, in the case of adapting materials, the purpose of adaptation is to maximize the appropriacy of teaching materials in context by changing some of the internal characteristics of a coursebook to suit our particular circumstances better. And the final case, designing materials. Núñez and Telles claim that developing materials to enhance teachers' pedagogical practices involve reflection and practice. In other words, teachers must combine their reflections with actions in order to search or develop helpful materials to fulfill their learners' characteristics, preferences, goals, styles, and expectations towards the language learning. Whether adapting or designing is a teacher's option. It is certainly important to define some relevant aspects to be taken into account before and during the process, as in the following diagram. As you can see, although this process is kind of flexible, we can note that its onset comes from a needs assessment to state the features of students and their context in order to develop achievable objectives for our materials. Moreover, curriculum alignment leads the path to visualize the content within to either choosing or generating the needed material in a creative and organized way. Consequently, the evaluation must be present during and after the application to assess the impact, the limitations, and the effects on students' learning. Now, the questions are the materials closely related to terms such as needs analysis, curriculum, syllabus, and teacher effectiveness, or can these terms work perfectly isolated? As we can see, there is no doubt that there are no gaps between curriculum, its analysis, design, adoption, and adaptation of materials. We can say that this is due to the fact that there are no either perfect curriculums nor materials for every specific learning context. In order to avoid such mismatches, it is necessary to properly analyze the concepts previously mentioned and reflect on their relationship. Quite often, teachers are seen as responsible for their learners' performance without taking into account other aspects that may affect or benefit students' learning. Such aspects are, for example, the curriculum, the specific traits and needs of the class, and of course the materials. First of all, a well-designed curriculum is needed in order to achieve both teacher effectiveness and learners' achievement. A curriculum should be flexible, open, and negotiable. It mainly is well structured and clearly states what and how students are supposed to achieve their learning objectives. How teachers will be able to guide their students to get their goals, what materials are they going to use, and in general, how are they going to implement a curriculum and adapt it if necessary. In other words, untrained or inexperienced teachers can work with it easily. A good curriculum would allow teachers and students to reconstruct it and take into account teachers, students, and curriculum needs and goals to draw their roadmaps. Secondly, needs analysis is not only to find out what the learners and teachers want and need, but also what they lack. If the wants, needs, and lacks are not fully investigated and gathered, the results regarding materials will be a set of design aids for teaching without a purpose and no meaning. Consequently, the learning results won't be aligned with the curriculum, and the teachers' and learners' performance will be poor and unconnected to the real needs and context of their learning environment. Even an experienced and trained teacher may struggle trying to find cohesion and coherence between the curriculum, needs analysis, and materials. It is said that teachers, directly or indirectly, are constantly planning, analyzing the learner's needs, evaluating, designing, adopting, and adapting materials to achieve the learning objectives. However, if both the curriculum and the needs analysis are quality and connected, teachers could be able to focus on other aspects of the teaching and the learning process that also need to be revised. Besides, they will have the opportunity to work with materials properly, and this can be very well developed, which will positively impact on language learners and teachers' performance. All in all, the terms explored so far Teachers' effectiveness, curriculum, needs analysis, and materials have an interdependent relationship. Each of them affect or benefit each other, and they should always be connected to the reality of the specific teaching and learning context. Reducing the mismatch between the concepts review is feasible if a good and professional needs analysis is conducted when designing a curriculum, materials design, adoption, and adaptation. Thanks for watching, and any comment, let us know. Thanks.